The history of this special award, and this is the 56th annual presentation of the award, goes back to the late 1950s when a group of newspaper editors gathered in Boston to discuss ways to honor those journalists, past and present, who have demonstrated throughout their careers a broad influence for the quality of journalism and the betterment of journalism in New England. Out of that meeting was born the Yankee Pull Award in the Academy of New England Journalists. The organization created to band the honorees together and perpetuate the funding purpose. The first Yankee Pull Awards were voted in 1960, with the honor going posthumously to 5 giants of the New England newspaper business during the first half of the 20th century. They were from Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut, and they are listed in this evening's program. Over the next half-century plus, more than 200 additional journalists have received the award for their distinguished achievements. They have toiled for New England's daily and weekly newspapers, radio and television stations, news agencies, and in academia. Several of these past Yankee Quill recipients are with us tonight, and I would ask them to stand so we can applaud their service and their leadership on behalf of New England journalism. They personify the best in our business. So please stand for a round of applause for the previous Yankee Quill Award. I would also like to extend appreciation to George Mears, who is the president of Plaid Speak Publishing Company of New Hampshire and a longtime New England editor, and clerk of the New England Academy of Journalists, for his beneficence in editing the background publication on tonight's winners and otherwise organizing the award ceremony. My thanks also to the New England Society of Newspaper Editors and its president, Richard Lodge, and to the New England Newspaper and Press Association and its executive director, Linda Conway, and assistant director, Megan Sherman, for assisting with the organization of the program. Now, on to the business at hand. The Yankee Pull Award is not based on a single career significant achievement. Rather, it recognizes the efforts of those who have had a broad influence on the betterment of journalism in New England and in their communities over time. It honors those who have made a special contribution to the public welfare by advocating for a free and aggressive press in order that democracy serves the public. Recipients of the award are automatically inducted into the Academy of New England Journalists, their names embossed on a plaque that denotes their status, a plaque that hangs in the Dedham headquarters of the New England Newspaper and Press Association. This year we are assembled to honor 5 remarkable journalists, one of whom is receiving the Yankee Pull Award posthumously under the Academy's tradition of paying tribute to a historic contributor to New England journalism. The backgrounds of tonight's honorees and their worthiness for the award are described in detail in tonight's program. So let me briefly introduce each of them and ask that they step forward one by one to accept the handsome hardware that goes with the Yankee Quill honor and to make whatever acceptance remarks they may wish to make, but no more than 5 minutes. We lead off tonight with our historic honoree. It is Sarah Josepha Buell Hale. Sarah Josepha Buell Hale, a native of Newport, New Hampshire, who went on to become the popular editor of the 19th century Ladies Magazine, a Boston publication, and today's Lady Book, published in Philadelphia. Sarah's career as an editor, or as she prefers to be known as Beatrice spanned from 1826 to 1877, highlighting a half-century of railing against slavery, advocating for the education of women, and embracing the power of poetry. Sarah Hale was herself a noteworthy poet. She authored in 1830 a lyrical rhyme I would bet, everybody in this room has read to their children at one time or another. It goes, Mary had a little lamb. His fleece was white as snow. Everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. I can't remember the rest, but I think it's something about going to school and the teacher, and sort of kicking the lamb out of the school. And anyway, it's a well-known tale. As an editor, Sarah Hale was widely respected as an arbiter of taste for middle-class women in matters of fashion, cooking, literature, and morality. But oddly, this is odd, she did not embrace women's suffrage, believing instead in what she described as the, quote, secret, silent influence of women to sway electoral change. You're a woman! She was, however, fervent about educational opportunities and careers for women, writing frequently about the subject and creating a section in Ladies Magazine titled Employment for Women. It was a classified ad, and stories about opportunity. Her passion resulted in her assisting in the founding of Vassar College in Poughkeepsie, New York in 1861. It was the nation's first degree-granting institution of higher education for women. Across her inspiring journalism career, Sarah Hale strongly advocated for an end to slavery before the Civil War and equal rights for African Americans afterwards. Her constant theme was that slavery and discrimination hurts and dehumanizes the victims, but it also dehumanizes the masters and the bigots, retarding their psychological, moral, and social progress. How right she was and is. Lastly, I want to mention that Sarah Hale, among her many accomplishments, is also accredited with making Thanksgiving a national holiday in 1863. Previously, it had been celebrated mostly in New England in the fall. For 17 years, she wrote personal letters to the presidents of the United States to recognize the importance of the day nationally. Her letter to President Lincoln struck a chord. He declared it the third national holiday at that time, joining Washington's birthday and Independence Day. We are honored tonight to have 3 generations of the Hale family with us. I want to introduce them, ask them to stand, and then the great granddaughters of Sarah Josepha Buell Hale will make remarks accepting the award. With us are Patricia McLean and her husband James, Celise Holmes and her husband James, and Celise and James's daughter Catherine. They are accept the award. You should know that the family is from New Orleans, and this Celise is a actress and a writer. She writes a weekly column for the Hammond, Louisiana Daily Star. So she's carrying on the tradition of her great grandfather.
In your introduction, you sort of took away everything that I was going to say. Except that I'm very, very honored to be here tonight to accept the award on behalf of Sarah Hale. And just amazed that I can be here with my mom and my daughter, and you have 3 generations of Hale women here in this room with you. So. I want to thank the Academy of New England Journalists. It's a great honor to be included, for Sarah Hale to be included with so many esteemed journalists that have come before, and I know are going to be inducted tonight and that will follow. Although I think I can probably say that tonight, Sarah Hale is probably the only one winning the Yankee Quill Award that actually wrote with a quill. I might be wrong, but. And I was also honored to attend the conferences today, and I heard a lot about change with the digital age, and as a reporter myself, and also somebody that sort of fears change, I had to think back on the changes that Sarah herself made, and have to embrace change and realize that change can be a good thing, because a lot of us women might not be in this room today without somebody like Sarah Hale. And I'll just finish with when I asked my editor, who is a woman as well, if she wanted me to say anything, she said, "Go women." So.
Certainly someone who's well deserved the recognition of the Yankee Quill Award. What's the score? 1-0. Still 1-0. All right. Our next honoree is Edward Acorn, Vice President and Editorial Page Editor of the Providence Journal. Ed has a unique distinction at tonight's celebration. His father, Bob Acorn, received the Yankee Quill Award 42 years ago as the editor of the Worcester Telegram and Gazette. No other father-son combination has won the award since it was first bestowed in 1960. The Ascot newspaper genes run deep in the Acorn family. Like his father, Ed has excelled throughout his journalism career at 4 New England newspapers, carving out a distinguished record as a local reporter, a political reporter, an editorialist, and an editor. In each of these papers and roles, he has built a reputation as a journalist who cares about readers and the communities in which they reside. As a result, tapping into their interests and concerns have become second nature to Ed. His public speaking and teaching calendar is packed with appearances in Rhode Island and elsewhere. Sometimes, of course, speaking about his 2 baseball books. The titles of which are The Summer of Beer and Whiskey, How Brewers, Barkeeps, Rowdies, Immigrants, and a Wild Pennant Fight Made Baseball America's Great Game. And the second, 59 and 84, Old Hoss Radbourn, Barehanded Baseball in the Greatest Season a Pitcher Ever Had. Ever hear of it? Read it. Good book, by the way, both of them. Ed is a baseball historian, but he's also a top-drawer editorialist whose opinions are valued by readers because they are rooted in facts, evidence, and courage. His style and voice ring true. That's why he was nominated as a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize for Commentary in 2003. That's also why he has racked up many other national and regional honors. Just one brief example. In 2009, Ed Acorn was attacked personally by a rival paper for initiating an editorial crusade to end legal indoor prostitution in Rhode Island. Organized crime bosses, of which there are many in Rhode Island, strip club owners, and others. We're coming down like an 800-pound gorilla on a paper and on Ed personally. The rival paper was also part of this pressure on the paper. It was a weekly in Rhode Island, and of course it benefited from the advertisements, which the strip clubs and others would run in the paper. Ed didn't flinch. He told how prostitution had led to the abuse of hundreds of young women, many teenage runaways. In the end, Ed and the Journal prevailed. The Rhode Island legislature finally relented after years of ignoring the problem and outlawed prostitution, eliminating an ugly scourge on the ocean state and its record. For these achievements and so much more, the New England Academy of Journalists is proud to present this year's Yankee Cole Award to Ed Acorn of the Providence Journal.
Wow, this is tremendous. This is a night I'll always treasure. I'd like to thank the Academy of New England Journalists for this very unexpected honor. And when you look at the names on that wall and the other recipients tonight, it's hard not to feel very humble. I cannot begin to thank all of the colleagues I've worked with in this remarkable business of ours who have made the world a better place every day through their passion, their wisdom, and their fondness for a good laugh. But I do want to mention a few in this room. Janet Hassan, the publisher of Providence Journal, works hard every day to make excellent journalism possible in very difficult times. I thank her for that and her rare courage in supporting tough editorials and reporting that challenge powerful interests in Rhode Island. Executive Editor Dave Butler, thank you for loving journalism and savoring the joy of flaying politicians alive. Karen Bordelot, former Executive Editor, how I treasure your friendship, your wisdom, and your deep love of journalism. My wife Valerie, thank you for your love and support through all the ups and downs of a journalist's checkered career. And my dad died last year at 92, and as was mentioned, more than 40 years ago as editor of the Worcester Telegram and Evening Gazette, he stood at a podium like this and received the same distinguished award. And I remember so clearly how thrilled he was with that honor. He was from the old school of fathers who didn't say much. Though we shared essentially the same trade, he never really offered me any help or even seemed sparing with advice, evidently thinking I would be better off sinking or swimming on my own. And through some strange miracle, I have yet to drown. So, on other matters, though, I found his ability to sort through issues uncanny. He asked my 4 sisters and me when we were little, if you call a horse's tail a leg, how many legs does it have? And we all proudly piped up 5, doing the math in our heads. His answer, no, 4, because calling it a leg doesn't make it a leg. That right pragmatism came in handy during my lifetime of weighing the claims and promises of politicians and bureaucrats. We all know the world of journalism has changed since his heyday, with some stormy weather in the forecast. When I came to the Providence Journal, there were 11 people in our opinion shop, and now there are 2. Sharing intelligent insights every day with intelligent readers is becoming an ever greater endurance test. We have to multitask and type faster than ever before. But what the people in this room do every day is more important than ever. As far as I can see, there's simply no way that our republic, what Lincoln called the last best hope of Earth, can survive without the work we do, in holding the powerful accountable, fending off politicians' endless efforts to limit and constrain speech, and informing people who are supposed to have the ultimate power. H.L. Mencken said, "There is only one way for a journalist to look at a politician, down." There's some slight exaggeration in that, as with all of Mencken's pronouncements, but also a great deal of truth. Justice is inseparable from the dissemination of reason and facts. I thank you all for refusing to give in and for fighting this noble fight. Thank you so much.
Our next recipient is Maura Casey, who is another preeminent New England editorialist and columnist. Maura currently writes occasionally for the Hartford Courant, but past beneficiaries of her clever pen and analytical mind include the New York Times, the New London Day, and the Lawrence Eagle Tribune. Maura's career is steeped in making a difference. She has constantly honed in on issues and concerns that bother and frustrate the public good, including bad actor politicians, sneaky bureaucrats, and laws that make no sense or create problems. She was a significant contributor to the Lawrence Eagle Tribune, winning the Pulitzer Prize for general reporting in 1988 for exposing Massachusetts' wrong-headed prison furlough program that allowed murder convict Willie Horton to walk away one weekend and travel to Maryland to terrorize a young family and rape the young wife. Maura's powerful editorials, along with the paper's news coverage, forced the governor and the state legislature to eliminate the program that included many violent criminals. Legal action and public outrage, fired up by Maura's on-point editorials, pried open the Corrections Department operation to get at the records and the details that resulted in remedial action. There are many other examples of Maura's qualities as an editorial writer. She's not one who suffers fools, nor is she content with gazing at the ceiling for subjects to write about. She gets out and about, basing her opinions on hard facts and original reporting, then synthesizing the information into clear and compelling opinions. Her career-long advocacy for the First Amendment has eliminated secrecy in records and meetings from the smallest community to the largest in New England. Maura has also served New England journalism in arranging exchanges between reporters and editors here and in Russia and Iran. When newspapers stopped funding the exchanges with Iranian journalists several years ago, she went about raising money to support them. That's how committed she was to the value of spreading the gospel of a free press. For these achievements and so much more, the New England Academy of Journalists is proud to present this year's Yankee Cole Award to Maura Casey.
So my speech is 7 minutes long, and I'm going to take 2 minutes from Sarah Josepha Hale's very short. Thank you for this generous award. A friend of mine said to me a few weeks ago that your friends and family reveal who you are. Well, if that's the measure, then I am amazing. My husband Pete's my rock. We didn't like each other when we first met, but we've been working on it for 30 years. His belief in me helped me believe in myself. Our kids, Anna and Tim, are both kind, compassionate, and smart, but best of all, they make me laugh. I've got a table full of people who not only do I still speak to, they were nice enough to attend here tonight. Among them, my future son-in-law, Rob Piak, who is a good man, and as I keep reminding him, the luckiest man on earth to marry my daughter next year. My big brother Tim and his beautiful wife Sheila. My cousin and perhaps my twin, Colleen Garrity. And my fellow classmate from journalism school 34 years ago, Cantor Dorothy Goldberg. Knowing all of you makes me a better person. When we journalists get together, it seems traditional to bemoan the state of the news media and sound like the bunch of cranky old people that we are. Well, not tonight. Over the last 3 decades of journalism, I think about the laughs I've had, too numerous to count, and about some absolutely spectacular mistakes I made. Like when I misspelled in the Eagle Tribune, when I misspelled the word surprise in a 42-point headline on a column meant to help people become better spellers. Or when I wrote a review of a concert featuring Peter, Paul, and Mary, which was really a remarkable piece of writing, primarily because I mixed up all of their last names. Remember that one, Reed? Where's Reed? Okay. He enjoyed that. Or when I wrote a column with a spectacular typo, which of course whizzed right by the copy desk, as they all do when they're really big ones. My column said that the Civil War ended not in 1865, but in 1965. But Paul Greenberg, editorial page editor of the Little Rock Gazette, said it was really fine because in his part of the world, in Arkansas, they thought it was still going on. So in fleeting moments, I've wondered if all the gallons of ink I've spilled in writing upwards of 5,000 editorials have made any difference. Since that will always be an enduring mystery, instead, I wonder what my mother, Jane Casey, would think. Mom died of heart disease when I was 20. Before I graduated from college, and before I chose journalism as a profession. She had served in the Women's Army Corps in World War II, her life's great adventure before coming home, getting married, and having 6 kids in 7 years. Good Catholic. As my brother Tim can attest, she was whip smart and read books constantly, sometimes while calling cadence, as a few of us would march around the living room. She could translate Latin, Greek, and French and was absolutely hilarious. When we left for school every morning, she would say to us, "Don't hit the teacher." Wise advice. Other times she would tell us half seriously to be brave and strong and true. And yet it was she who was brave and strong and true, right up to the last moment of her too short life. And while I cherish this award, I'm not sure it would impress my mother. I think she would ask one question, the question I believe motivates most journalists and everybody in this room to enter this profession. The question is this: have we tried to make the world a better place, or at least our corner of it? I bet we have. Most journalists I know went into the profession because they wanted to right some wrongs, have some fun, and do some good writing, and we did that. But along the way, we found out how complex and heartbreaking and uplifting human beings can be. If you're very fortunate, you had or have an editor like Carolyn Lumsden of the Hartford Courant. She's the best editorial page editor in the country. Sorry, Ed. After I left the Times in 2009, she convinced me to write editorials for her editorial page. And one of the things that makes her a great editor is that she always has the same 3-word response to a good story. Go get 'em. As a woman in this profession, I was very blessed to have as a publisher Reed McCluggage, who is almost unique among members of the male persuasion in this one respect. The more I or other women talked back to him, the more he liked it. The more we argued, he was there right with us. And no matter what blowback from my editorials, he never got weak kneed. When I wrote a particularly nasty editorial about some hideously unsafe operations of the local neighborhood nuclear plants, the company took out full-page ads in the day, slamming the newspaper. And all Reed would say is, "Casey, you've become a revenue center for us." So you see, I've been lucky. Most of all, to be part of a profession that gives me and all of us the opportunity to do good every single day. It gives full vent to both my curiosity and my indignation, and it always challenged me to be fair. And if my mother asked, I would tell her that not only have I been privileged to be a journalist, but that I really did try to make my corner of the world better. And on my best days, I and all of us even managed to be brave and strong and true. Thank you.
Our next honoree is Lincoln McKee Jr., Northeastern University journalism professor, news consultant, and editor of the New England Newspaper and Press Association Bulletin. Link, as we know him, has given a lifetime of selfless service to journalism, doing it well as a practitioner and mentoring young aspirants in the profession as an academic. Many outstanding journalists have populated New England newsrooms and still do so today because of Link McKee's tutelage and encouragement. His advice on how to gather details for a story, find sources that enlighten, get around unexpected roadblocks to get at the truth of the news, and then write it clearly for readers has lifted the quality of content across our 6-state landscape. He relishes solving sticky situations and ethical dilemmas, most of which he has experienced in more than 40 years in the news business, a large portion of that at the Worcester Gazette. But you would not know about Link's expertise or his contributions unless you know him or work with him. He is one of the most modest professionals, selfless professionals I've encountered. He simply sees volunteering his expertise and sharing his knowledge with journalists and journalist wannabes as a civic duty to the craft he spent a lifetime savoring and holds dear. Link comes from the work hard, work smart, don't cut corners, and you will enjoy success sort of old world formula for success. Damn good advice, I say. While many professors at Northeastern teach a pair of 15-week semesters each year, Link is in the trenches year-round, working in the newsroom lab and producing the NEPA bulletin, or the NENA bulletin. NEPA bulletin, why can't I get this? We're changing too much. NEPA bulletin, which is considered among the best Press Association publications in the country. He also stays busy throughout the year with his news consulting business that takes him to news outlets in every corner of New England. For these achievements and so much more, the New England Academy of Journalists is proud to present this year's Jason Pohl Award to Lincoln Link McKee Jr.
Thank you, Bill. I think there ought to be some fact checking done on an introduction. I know myself better than anyone in this room. Half of that is exaggerated. I usually luck out with the alphabetical thing. I thought I was going to lose completely tonight. Fortunately, Brian McGrory was put after me, so I only have 2 sparkling speakers in front of me. And Brian, I'm glad you weren't the third. I've been at many of these award ceremonies through the years, including the past 16 years with our students from Northeastern covering these events and other events. But this is my first time on this side of the podium, and I must say I like the view. I want to thank the Academy for making this view possible. As I've heard from many other speakers at these events through the years, I'm grateful, I'm humbled, and privileged to be receiving the Yankee Quill Award. Unlike them, however, I am shocked to be here. Never in my deepest recesses of my imagination did I ever think I'd be receiving the Yankee Quill Award. And when I get that plaque, I'm going right home. I won't hang in my trophy room because I don't have one. It will be, as they say in the Seinfeld episodes, put in the vault. In case they decide to come and take it back. After the fact checking on the introduction. These are the Academy's awards, so at the risk of going all Sally Field on you, I'd like to acknowledge and thank some of the folks who had a hand in getting me to this side of the podium. First, let me congratulate the others being honored here tonight. I've been around long enough that I know all of them here tonight to one extent or another. I worked for almost 20 years with Bob Acorn and Spada, who you've heard about, the editor and publisher of the Telegram and Gazette, and a national player in the newspaper business, and a mentor and newsroom idol to all of us who worked under him. So I know, too, what it's like to follow a father who has a good deal of success and is so highly honored, because my father, too, was like that. But I'll have to tell you that Ed has done a much better job of filling those large shoes than I did, so congratulations to you. Maura Casey provided the best feature picture we've ever run in the Bulletin. She was at the Park Plaza giving one of her wonderful workshops, and afterwards she was relaxing in the chair in the Park Plaza lobby, in a yoga-like pose, reading the newspaper, and it was easily the best featured photo we've ever run. Thank you. We have copies. I have some with me. Brian McGrory, like his predecessors at the Boston Globe, his editors, has been so gracious and so kind, inviting our students to come and sit in on their news meetings and being such a gracious and generous host. The only downside to Brian's tenure as editor of the Globe is we don't get to read his column in that section. And I, for one, miss it. And I know there are others who do, including Diane Williams.
I don't listen.
You already told him that once. And if I were just a few years older than this, I could talk to you about Sarah Hale. I missed her by about a bit, as you can see from the stash. I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge and thank first the man most immediately responsible for my receiving this award, Mike Donahue. If I were half the journalist that Mike is, I'd feel less shocked at and more worthy of this award and of being on this side of the podium. Mike has through the years become a dear friend. He's also the lowest paid, now let me take that back, unpaid Bulletin correspondent in Vermont. We thank you for that too. I also know from reliable confidential sources that there were others who supported Mike's nomination. While I won't name them, they know who they are. And I think I've thanked many of them individually, and I want to thank them again. They are, like Mike, journalists I've respected and admired for years. And the best part of this award is being in their company, the company of these other esteemed Yankee Award recipients, and I mean that. I have family and friends here tonight, and I'd not only be remiss, but I'd be cut out of the will if I didn't mention and acknowledge my sainted mother, Barbara McKee, whose bedtime at age 90 has prevented her from being here tonight. If Mike Dunny was most immediately responsible for my being behind this podium tonight, my mother and father are the most responsible in the long term. My only regret on a night otherwise filled with nothing that happens is that my father was not alive to be here. An achievement credit to him more than anyone else. I mean, I respect it like no one else. In place of my mother, and would have taken my mother here as her most caring son, my brother Tom, the most generous man I know, my best friend and best golf partner. The most tolerant and compassionate person at our table, and all of you who know me know this is to be true, is my long-suffering wife, Gladys. Gladys is so tolerant that she married me even after most of our Saturday night dates consisted of racing from the newsroom to Nick Argento's market on Shrewsbury Street in Worcester before they closed, so I can fill my grocery cart up with all the Stoker's frozen foods I could find. Because that was my dinner for the next 5 days until she came back to the following week. And I haven't gone back to Stoker's since. We've been blessed with only one child, our daughter Kate. As I've told her since she was old enough to understand it, she's my favorite child. And she earns that distinction wherever we go. My closest friends are at, well, 2 different tables now because one of them chose to sit at a different table. Another reason for that. Brian McDonald, my oldest and dearest friend and the most generous soul you'll ever want to meet, he's been such a savior for people in his family and friends of his family. Bud Snyder, the former managing editor of the UMass Boston student newspaper, he'd not forgive me if I didn't mention that. And my foil on and off the golf course, only because he's so good-natured and good humored. And the only reason I hang around with both of these guys, the 2 wonderful women who were with him, Maria and Carolyn. And also with him is Bud's son Ben, a fine young man in every way, except when he kicks my ass and his father's ass on the golf course. He does regularly. We no longer pay off on the bets. I'm overwhelmed with this award with how many of my friends and former colleagues from the Worcester Telegram and Gazette are here tonight. They epitomize the best of the many superbly talented journalists I've been privileged to work with through the years, including our photographer, Chris Christo, Lamson was here tonight, Mr. Melades, I think, was here tonight, and others, and forgive me if I've neglected anyone. They not only share in this award, they too are responsible for my receiving it. Their friendship humbles me as much as this award does, and they give the lie to those who claim that my weight will be held on the telephone. In the interest of a warning from one of them that they would give me the hook if my remarks went on too long, and I hope they haven't already, I won't single them out, but I hope they know how much they all mean to me. Their presence tonight in a myriad other ways, and always. I've been at this business, man and boy student, for 50 years. After all that time, I have just 2 wishes and 2 hopes. I wish that I had been less patient and more aggressive as a reporter, and I had focused more on watchdog and investigative journalism and reporting. It is what we do best, and what we never do and can't do enough of, especially as our governments increasingly hijack our information, and our access to how our government operates. I also wish I had been less impatient and more tolerant as an editor or manager. Again,
The paper's exhaustive coverage of the Boston Marathon bombings and the ensuing anxiety over the manhunt for the perpetrators. Nor the paper was a finalist for the Public Service Pulitzer the next year for its revelatory series on apartment owners ripping off college students for rents in unsafe, even deadly housing. Since Brian has been the editor of the Globe, it has won 3 other Pulitzer Prizes. One for feature photography, one for commentary, and one for editorial writing. Continuing a tradition that the paper It started with Tom Winship and lives on. For these achievements and so much more, the New England Academy of Journalists is proud to present this year's Yankee Poll Award to Brian McGrory, editor of Boston Globe.
Thank you so much, Bill. What you left out of that introduction in terms of our relationship with the Patriot Ledger was what you paid me. When you hired me, you offered me $212 a week, and you told me not to tell anyone else how much you were paying me. I think way back then, you were just preparing for the era we're in now. The truth is that Bill, in my year at the Patriot Ledger, I actually did an internship before I was a young reporter there. Bill provided me lessons that were carried across an entire career. You were an extraordinary editor and a Pulitzer Prize winner yourself for breaking news, so I thank you for everything you've done for me over the years. And I thank you for this award. You are the Dean of New England Journalists, and you're the Dean of this organization, so thank you very much. Congratulations to my fellow award winners, Maura, Ed, Link. Wonderful, wonderful accomplishments. I truly am humbled. People always say they're humbled when they get an award. I'm actually not humbled about this. I'm really honored, but I'm humbled to be in the company of three such great journalists. Thank you to Steve Kirkjian and Tom Farragher, who nominated me for this and saw this nomination through. Steve has told me many times since that he is as shocked as anyone that I'm not winning this posthumously. And that I will owe him for a long time. Just to be clear, Tom Farragher was the editor on the Pulitzer Prize finalist series, Spotlight editor, as was Mark Morrow, that came very close to winning the Public Service Award, but profoundly changed the way things were done in the city of Boston. Thank you to my Globe colleagues who are here. All of them looked at me and said, "You really have this commute every single day down the Mass Pike?" I do. I am really, really blessed. I was born, and I don't want to get off on me because I'll never hold it down to 5 minutes, but I was a joke. I was born in Boston, raised in and around it. The only place I ever wanted to work was the Boston Globe. And my 28 years there have been the great honor of my life. I've worked with colleagues who are deeply committed, relentlessly creative, and just wonderfully compassionate. And it has truly been something to behold. Thank you most especially to the New England Academy, specifically for the award, but more broadly for taking the time every year to celebrate achievement in journalism. Which is something really, really important these days. We can all pick our career. The problem is we can't pick when we do it. And the time that we're doing it now is one of just enormous challenge, as everybody in this room certainly knows. But if you spin it around a little, it's also one of incredible excitement. The tools that we have available to us, the various platforms and metrics, the understanding of our readers, the ability to be in people's pockets, on their screens, 24 hours a day, is truly, truly a great harbinger of what could come in the future, and what certainly will come in the future. And now, we need it more than ever, as some of the award winners prior to me have said. We are in an era, we're in a presidential race in which we are playing a critical role. We're in a country where animosity is calcified to outright hostility and trickled down from the national stage to local races. And we alone in this industry are able to make sense of it all. In a very loud world in which everyone has a platform, we are the ultimate arbiters of what is right and what is fact. I'd like you to think about this world for a minute without places like the Hartford Courant and the extraordinary work they have done. Going back a few years on their Pulitzer Prize worthy work on suicidal veterans and the lack of help they got, the work they continue to do day in and day out. Think of Providence and all of Rhode Island without the Providence Journal. We have a Rogues Gallery down there that they got indicted and convicted, and it would be an entirely different place if not for them. Think about New Hampshire without the Concord Monitor and so many other newspapers up there providing thoughtful political coverage that has made New Hampshire worthy of being the first presidential primary state. Think about what Maine would be like without the Portland Press Herald and the extraordinary environment coverage they've had up there recently, Pulitzer Prize-worthy work. Think about everything we do, all of us in this room every day, and what we're contributing, and it's hard to imagine not having it. Think too about the more forward-thinking and forward-looking organizations that we're all becoming. The New England Center for Investigative Reporting right here in Boston, 7 Days in Vermont, the Connecticut Health Investigative Team, where no Boston mind Linda Lucia is running the show. We are in a moment here that is filled with excitement, and the challenges are huge. We are all, and I know this from the globe, we are all exhausted by the challenge. But we have the ability right now to change this country and change the world, and we have the burden, but also the privilege of changing our industry. So I thank you for this award very, very much, and I look forward to what's to come.
Thank you, Brian. What's the score?
2-2.
2-2? Come on, big puppy. Well, anyway, this concludes tonight's program. I thank you all for attending, and let's give one last round of applause. Home, and remember, if there's someone in New England, historic or contemporary, that you think deserves the Yankee Pool Award, please nominate them, either to George or me, and it will get consideration by the subcommittee. Thank you for coming. Stay Travis.